View this video from the playlist to see the complete video content.
In this chapter, we'll discuss maintenance and lubrication of your Ultrafeed sewing machine. There are slight differences in the internal components between the LS-Z1 machine and the LS1 sewing machine, but in general, think in terms of oiling as being the primary maintenance that you'll do to the sewing machine, and basically any parts that operate against one another need to have a drop of oil before any major project or before you put your machine away for an extended period of time. Lubrication is covered extremely well in the guidebook for the sewing machine, and we even notate where those particular oil spots are, both for the red LS1 machine and the blue LS-Z1 machine. From this discussion, you've obviously gleaned that you do need oil to maintain your machine, and the machine does come with a bottle of oil, but I strongly recommend that when you buy more oil, you buy oil with a zoom spout. This makes it a lot easier with this spout to get into the various spots internally in the machine to oil. I also like the idea of T9, especially for our customers who use their sewing machines outside, and certainly those who use it in a marine environment. A lot of our machines live on board boats. T9 is a rust and corrosion protectant that puts a light wax finish on the surface of whatever you spray it on, and it can be sprayed even on the paint of the machine. It certainly should be sprayed on any of the needle or slide plates. And basically, you can use it internally as well. It acts as a lubricant, but you don't want to use it all the time to lubricate your sewing machine because that buildup over time will cause problems with rotation. In other words, it builds up enough that it will make things tighter as opposed to more free running. I also don't recommend using it anywhere near the motor or the drive belt arrangement of the sewing machine. But it's a great product to keep anything metal from rusting or corroding in a marine environment. So it's something that I strongly recommend you look at. The other thing that is nice to have is just canned air. You can get canned air anywhere, and it's a great way to blow out any lint or debris that is the result of the thread and the general operation of the sewing machine. So most of the time where you would use this would be around the tension assembly to blow any debris out from the tension plates, or under the machine at the hook region to get rid of any thread debris in the hook area. But you could use it anywhere just to clean up the machine. Those are the supplies you need. Let's open the machine so I can at least point to the major areas where you need to get some oil from time to time. And really, maintenance on the machine is very simple. That's all there is to opening the top and the left end of the machine. And this, apart from the bottom of the machine, this is where the majority of the oiling needs to take place. I'm just going to use our zoom spout, but I'm not actually oiling, I'm going to leave the red tip on so you can see where I want you to get oil in general. And I'm not going to hit all of the points, I'm going to hit the most important points. So we have a spot here, here. Notice that this slide moves in this car. So that's a spot. Here we have a gear down here. There are a variety of spots under here that have oil holes that are detailed in the guidebook. But over here on the left end, you certainly want to get some oil here at the needle bar where the needle bar operates in the machine, and any of these pivot points that are moving like this one and this one on the left end of the machine, maybe even behind the counterbalance here. And then you have some pivot points here on the left end of the machine that justify some oil. But I think you're getting the idea, maybe in here as well. You get the idea that if you rotate the machine and you watch things moving, you can see where metal is moving on metal. Those are the spots where you need to get some oil. So on the top side, that's pretty much where you need to be looking. On the bottom side of the machine, I'm going to tilt the machine back so that we can get to the underside of the machine. And again, we'll leave our tip on for the purposes of showing oil spots. Here's an oil hole here, here's an oil hole here. You can see that these collars move against metal. They should be oiled. It's pretty easy to see where to drop some oil on things. Here's a block that runs inside a fork, pivot over here. But the most important spot over here would be the hook. And you can actually leave the hook in place and just put a couple drops of oil right in here where I have my red tip. Or you can actually remove the bobbin case, flip these fingers out to the sides, pull the retaining ring out, which will at the same time release the hook, and that's what you heard fall out of the machine. And you can put a drop of oil right here on this shelf, which is where the hook rotates. And then we'll put this back together again. And this is probably the most important spot to get oil, because this is what is creating the stitch. In other words, the driver has to allow the hook to rotate smoothly in there without catching. And we'll drop our bobbin case back in place, and that is the oiling process for the machine. When we're talking about canned air, if I pulled that apart again, I could obviously spray any of this out. That's really it. That's all you need to do in order to maintain your Ultrafeed sewing machines.